Hello everyone, it's John from Brisbane, and today I'm looking at a game from Task Force Games. Many people probably know them better for having done Starfire and Starfleet Battles. Yeah, that just shows you how long ago that might be. So this is looking a little bit skew if. Look, I'm not the best at this. I'm having to work with my my phone. As always, Mickey Mouse Productions here. So here we go. This is the Warriors of Batak, and this is essentially the contents. So you get one rule book that is a staggering, 17 pages in length. So these are the counters that you get. Now, according to this, the we'll start here. The purple-coloured pieces are Battle Group Orion, and the yellow-coloured playing pieces are the Bataki. Units. So this is a science fiction game, and it's dealing with the invasion of Tsu. So it's a two-player game, and it says here playing time is 45 minutes. The complexity is moderate, and it's designed by Daniel Campagna. This game was, in this case, copyright 1982. So yeah, but these were the style of games that we had quite a few produced. These were small, relatively inexpensive games, and I guess they were in many cases the precursor of many others that were to follow in the years to come. So I like essentially the way that these rules have been written, and that's due to the fact that one of the many jobs that I had was in quality assurance. So as a document controller and manager, so for me, I tend to I like things itemized, and that really was the format that these rules were written in those days. So they followed these pretty much with a lot of other games as well. And you'd have an introduction, and then they'd give you a general, in this case here, they give you a general course of play as to how the game would play out. And as I said, the game length here, the game actually lasts 12 turns. And it's interesting because amongst the pieces that I have been given, I actually have a turn marker. And I've yet to discover on this map board anything going from 1 to 12. So yes, it's nice you've got a turn marker, but as to how you do it, I don't know. But the games in those days, the playing pieces are fairly standard chits for the time. So they're not as thin as one of the other games that I had shown in one of my other videos, Stomp. These are actually fairly thick. Well, not fairly thick, but they're fairly standard for the board games that were produced at the time. The map board, as you can see, is a paper, one-sided, and it's not bad for 1982. And this is what people need to realise, is that this was at the beginning of, I guess, the move towards modern-day board games. Certainly this is classified, I guess, more as a war game than a board game, of which you have two forces fighting against each other. And as I said, so your units basically have an attack, a defense, and a movement. So the standard 3 points on each counter. So it's interesting. So you've got berserkers, which are, by the looks of it, your ground troops. You got gunboats, you got leviathans, you got typhoons, which appear to look as though they're with the UPC. I think it is. Is it the UPC? No, sorry, the Battle Group Orion units. So they are holding the planet, I believe, and these are the Bataki are the ones that are doing all the fighting. And of course, do take this with a grain of salt. As I said, this is just a quick overview of what this game actually entails. So you've got some definition of terms, which is always very nice in any game. Then you've got at the back, you've essentially got all the charts and tables that you need. And the game only uses a die 6 for all its results, and fairly typical for the wargaming at that time. It's the strength, it's basically the attack, and the attack values against each stack, if you'd like to call it, of units, and you work out the odds, and there's either no effect or the unit is destroyed. And then there's movement points and all sorts of things that are included in here. But again, as I said, it's all dot pointed, well, not dot pointed, but it's all numeral. Geez, I'm not having much better from the other day, am I? So each of them are numbered. So if you want to know, obviously, about sequence of play, it all falls under 4, and 4 has everything marked out. Then you've got the game set up, and it tells you where you put the UPC. Yeah, I was right, the UPC, which are the pink people, or purple people. And they go into each of the forts. So there's 1 fort, 2 fort, and there's a 3rd fort down here. And then the rest are the yellow, which are the Batak player, and they place them within a certain range of each of the depots. So it's, it's fairly simple. So then it covers movement, how to move units, the movement restrictions, the terrain and effects, the features. So at least they give you an idea of what the terrain type pieces are on the board. Then it covers combat, and it says which units may attack. Then you've got air combat, you've got bombardments, you've got combined attacks, combat resolution, which I talked about, and then you've got retreats, you've got advances after combat, moles, apparently an alien life form with unique movement abilities. So they're for the Batak, and there's 4 counters worth of those. So yeah, it's a fairly simple game, and as I said, obviously if you want to look for a specific set of rules, it's all pardon me, all nicely located under one section generally. So yeah, so this was Task Force Games. They got some players' notes, and it gives you here, obviously with the playtesting, they've said, look, this is some of the things that we've spotted. Here are things you need to consider when you're playing the game, which I think is quite good. I can't say that I see that in very many modern games, but then I guess that with the internet and with YouTube and the many other sites that people have, the capacity to find this information's out there without, I guess, having to take up printer room. But obviously back in 1982, we didn't have that. Hey, listen, we still had rotary phones, and I can remember them. So yeah, it's quite a compact little game. So here we have the Warriors of Batak, whether or not you like it or not, find yourself a copy. Give it a go. Let me know if you've played it. Give some feedback. As I said, it's a task force game, which generally at the time was one of the better thought of companies. So, yeah, there we have it. Anyway, look, thank you very much for your time. And till then, signing off, the Honourable John.